Okay, we're live.
We're live here with Bobby C, Anonymous Addiction at My Truth About AA, as Bobby C sees it. The new channel that Joe and it kind of goes with the other channel we have, Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast, so you can check that out. And now you can also come on Anonymous Addiction on YouTube and check us out because we're going to be talking about creating your own program, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Taking the red pill, okay? We're going to talk about taking the red pill instead of the blue pill. So we're going to get back. Let me pass it back to Joey, and he'll just give you a shout out and say hi to you.
Yeah, this is Joey C from the Brutally Sober podcast, and I like to think of myself when I'm on this channel as like a recurring guest, like kind of like Alec Baldwin on Saturday Night Live, something like that. Except I don't punch my photographers in the face when people try and take pictures of me because that happens all the time. I just let them take the pictures. That's really the only difference between me and him. So I'm kind of like that kind of recurring guest on this show. You can look at me that way.
Yes,
Also,
you go ahead, Joe.
also, just a reminder, I'm in between seasons of the Brutally Sober podcast right now. I'm trying to think of what I can do. I gotta do something different. I gotta come up with some new material. I mean, I'm getting thousands and thousands of emails because I haven't done the podcast in a couple months. And I gotta get into a new rhythm. I got a new schedule. I wanted come back with something that I haven't done before. Anybody got any ideas? Let me know. I guess you could say I'm in a little bit of a funk right now. So that's me, Joey C from New Jersey.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm in a little funk this week too. I was watching my daughter's two dogs. She went to Hawaii, and so me and my wife kind of broke our routines up. We had to go back and forth. But this is what this whole program's about: living life on life's terms. This is what it's all about. We're creating our own program as we talk, Joey and I, and we're going to bring on a third guest once in a while, and he or she could talk about how they created their own program. But today we're going to go. We're going to do AA, and it's Alcoholics Anonymous 12 Steps versus Smart Recovery. That's AA 12 Steps versus Smart Recovery. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I'll just share something with you. I'm a Smart Recovery facilitator, and I could share a little bit about that. I haven't facilitated a meeting since the COVID, so I started a real nice group, but I had to end that. I went on Zoom and I stopped that Zoom meeting also. Uh, so we're going to talk a little bit about how to get involved with SMART versus Alcoholics Anonymous. We're going to compare it a little bit. I'll pass some things by Joey, tell him what I know about SMART. And he went online and checked it out. See, that's what he's doing. He's creating his own program. He's going beyond the box, beyond the AA triangle, and he's going to search and check out other different things. That's what this whole podcast is about. Joey's still going to go back to meetings once in a while, but he's checking other things out. He's expanding his consciousness. You know, Joey's willing to take the red pill, okay, because he wants to dig into the truth and find out what's true for him. And so I believe, a disclaimer, I believe that I am a teacher and a student of philosophy. And I believe Joey is too. I believe I'm a student and a teacher of philosophy. And a philosopher is a lover of wisdom, knowledge, experience, existence. That's what I am. And so this program is going to delve into a lot of different things. So back to you, Joey. What'd you find out about SMART? Let's compare a little bit about AA and what
Well,
you learned about SMART.
well, I took a bunch of notes, but I probably won't read them. Well, I learned that there's no spot in SMART. I learned that you they don't expect you to go to meetings for the rest of your life. Um, I learned that it's science based, and uh, the methods that they use are based on actual research that helps people. It's more of a a program now. I'm just starting to try and understand all of smart right now, so I'm just getting into it. This is just the things that I've picked up so far. But it just sounds like more of like a logical reasoning type of a program that helps you understand uh, why you're feeling a certain way and things that can help you to move through those feelings, like specific tools and activities for you to do. Um, there is there's sm- so smart recovery stands for self management and recovery training. That's what I read on their website anyway. So I like that they have it. They use the word training because you're kind of like retraining or training your mind to deal with an addiction. And smart recovery doesn't it's not just focused on alcohol, it's not just focused on uh it's whatever kind of addiction you have, you can you can join a smart recovery meeting. um now and I was looking on some of the YouTube videos and some of the tools in the smart recovery toolkit, and one of them was this rational emotive behavioral therapy, um, and something about the ABCs. Now, if you go onto the website, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about because I'm not going to be able to explain all about what that is. But there was, and maybe you can explain exactly what it is. But I was reading this whole pages and pages of these methods to help you think differently in certain situations, and how this rational emotive behavioral therapy works. And I couldn't finish the whole thing, but as I was reading all of these paragraphs, I'm like, you know, you can just sum this up by just saying the serenity prayer. It's the same fucking thing. All these pages and pages of pages, or you could just say the serenity prayer. That's now I'm simplifying it obviously a lot more, but as I was reading, that's all I just kept thinking about. I just kept thinking, well, you could solve this problem with serenity prayer. Well, you could change your thinking about this with the serenity prayer. If and you can just I just I felt like it was overcomplicating whatever kind of situation they were trying to solve with like just pages and pages of how this rational emotive behavioral therapy works, which is just apparently one part of the whole um, toolbox that they have. I ordered the Smart Recovery Handbook so I can read the whole thing and go in and do the yes and do the worksheets and things like that. Another thing that bothered me was that, well, first of all, I ordered this handbook and I'm going to do all these little worksheets, but I I looked up the cost benefit analysis worksheet, and I just me, because they had me do this shit in rehab where you write stuff down and and kind of like extract your feelings by writing all this stuff down. And the cost benefit analysis worksheet was like, why wording that they have there for it, but it's like I'm not writing this shit down. I know in a second. Like it only takes me a second to know the the costs and the benefits for drinking versus not drinking, because I've been through it in my head like a thousands of times. Like I'm not gonna sit down here and like write all this stuff down. It takes me a second. I'll even have to think of the words to understand the cost benefit analysis of all that. So the all these little workshop little worksheets, they're gonna piss me off. Maybe I might end up liking them, but I feel like at the end of the uh, uh, by the end of the handbook, I can make a addiction from all these worksheets. They're like a pet peeve of mine that I have. I don't like doing those worksheets, but I do like Smart Recovery because it talks about reality. It talks about doesn't require you to have faith, in my opinion, just from what I've read. And I think that if rehabs focused on smart recovery rather than AA, I think that there would be a higher success rate because a lot of rehab, and they're the ones that are having a hard time with God. And I think if smart recovery was focused in rehabs rather than AA, I think that would help a lot of young people that um, are in the rehab. I think that they would actually use smart recovery when they got out. If there was meetings available for them to go to, that's another thing. I don't know where I can go to a smart recovery meeting here. There's one place I reached out to them. They didn't get back to me. I don't think it's going on. I know that probably has something to do with COVID, but um, the amount of AA meetings there are around me versus smart recovery meetings, it's just like you can't even. There's just so many. I can go to an AA meeting any night that I want to, pretty much. But the smart recovery in-person meetings, I don't know that I'll ever be able to make it to one, but maybe I'll try going online. But to to sum it up a little bit, I do like smart recovery because of it just it's it's science based, and they go off kind of just like logical reasoning, really. And it doesn't it's not asking you to have faith in anything that you can't uh see, or they're not asking you to have faith in anything that isn't a part of reality, really. So you can't argue with that.
Yeah, that's good. That's what you observed, and that's what your reality is, and that's what you experience, and that's what your take is right now on smart recovery versus Alcoholics Anonymous. I could just let's say that that's the Serenity Prayer. I'll break that down. I don't even have to use the word God. Grant me serenity. First of all, I really didn't know what the hell serenity was. So the Serenity Prayer really never worked for me because I was believing that God was going to give me the serenity. And I believe God because I'm asking God grant me, but I don't say God anymore. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. First of all, that one statement there, I need a lot of work and a lot of education, a lot of time, and a lot of knowledge, and a lot of rational, uh, logical thinking, critical thinking to understand that. So I like smart in that sense. It gives me other tools. It gives me these little tools. And as you were talking, Joe, about the CBT, rational emotive behavioral therapy, I mean, you were reading something, but really, when you go through the workbook, you go page by page. You don't do the whole thing. You do 2 pages. So you keep it simple in that sense. So it sounds like maybe you got a little overwhelmed because you read too much and you don't know the simplistic value of the program, which it is very. Go ahead, jump in.
You know what I did? I took I went off of the smart recovery website, and I like delved into like the whole creator of rational emotive behavioral therapy, and the history of that. And I was going down a rabbit hole just off of the first toolkit link I was using on smart recovery. So that's what happened there. That's
I understand that.
exactly what happened.
I understand that 100%. So for the viewers, Keep it simple. Okay, keep it simple. Just get the book. Okay, go on a Zoom meeting. Go to a Zoom meeting and just check it out. Just check out one Zoom meeting. I actually had about 4 meetings real close to me, and I was involved in 2 of them. Okay, I hosted one and I facilitated one. Just to let everybody know, this is not a Zoom meeting. I'm not facilitating anything here, so don't say I'm doing any of that. Okay, we're just talking about smart recovery and Alcoholics Anonymous. So just to the audience. And we'll stop you right there. And don't forget to subscribe and like us over there. And if you don't like us, don't press that button, please. Okay. But okay, here's it's made up of 3 parts, really. MET, which is motivational enhancement therapy, which is very simplistic. When you get into it, it is very simplistic. CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is cognitive thinking. It's about the thinking, the thoughts, the rational beliefs. It's about beliefs. It's about rational and irrational thinking. REBT, rational emotive behavioral therapy. Emotive means emotions, rational emotions, you know. So it gives me some tools and strategies because when here I'm going to compare it to with AA. When I used to go to Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, the only thing they tell me is go to the steps, go to your sponsor, and go to God. Okay. And I'll tell you what, they never gave me any specific ways of doing anything. They never gave me any really concrete, rational, logical, free thinking methods to get to a place because I spent many, many years going to alcohol. I used to run to a meeting. Because I didn't know how to deal with anything. My wife would say one thing and I'd be out of there. You know, I mean, this is early in my sobriety and I still was not many years in. Okay, because I didn't know how to deal with emotions. So rational emotive behavioral therapy could teach me how to deal with some of these irrational thinkings and kind of understand the other person in a sense, you know, the other person. Where am I at? How am I feeling these emotions? So I started really years ago, like early in Alcoholics Anonymous, I started to go to one-on-one therapy, group therapy, little meditation things here and there. I started to read spiritual books. I delved out and went beyond the AA triangle. And I believe that saved my ass. Really, it saved my ass. I don't know where I'd be if I didn't go to all them other things. We're just telling you to check some things out. You know, I'm not, how do you say, endorsing smart recovery. I'm not endorsing anything. We're just comparing 2 things. Another podcast, we're going to compare another 2 things, another 2 things, another 2. This podcast is about creating your own program because you are responsible. You could go to a couple smarts. You can go to one here. You could go over there. You could go to a Zoom. You can read a book. You could do here. And you don't have to do nothing, you know. But me personally, like I said, I'm a philosopher. A philosopher is the study of knowledge, experience, wisdom. I'm a lover of wisdom. So I tend to go that way. There's a 4 points. So the 4 points are building motivation. So you're building motivation, coping with urges, how to deal with it. I mean, it gives you things. It gives you common sense things that are real life one-on-one things that other people went through and give you different types of ways of thinking about them. Problem solving. Alcoholics Anonymous never gave me no problem. All they told me is to seek God. God would relieve me of these defects of character. You know, get a higher power, go to God, and then you're really not responsible for it. And if you don't go to God, that means you're not working the program. And you know, what the hell can I say? And the 4th thing is lifestyle balance. There's a wheel they call lifestyle balance wheel, and it shows you how sometimes we're out of whack. Okay, you know, first of all, I was addicted to meetings, so you know, people get addicted to recovery, recoverism. You know, it's like a movement. It's always been a movement, recoverism. And I'll get back to the history of why alcohol, why smart recovery, and how it came about. because we can go down the rabbit hole with smart recovery too. Okay, we can start connecting the dots with some of that stuff too. Okay, so like I said, we're going to take the red pill and we're going to go into some truth. And if you don't like it, if you took it already, sorry, because there's no coming back. Once you're dealing with the truth, there ain't no coming back to ignorance. So smart recovery is an alternative. They kind of came up with an alternative method. It started back in 1994. Okay. And it's just like Alcoholics Anonymous is 86 years old. You know. And a lot of differences is, let's see, we could talk about the differences because in SMART, there's no God needed. There's no religion. There's no God. There's no disease concept. Okay, there's no steps. There's none of this. Look, talk about steps. Okay, I'll show you some steps. This is the big book. There's 12 steps. It's really only 164 pages in here. Steps, right? Steps to get to there. Here's another book, Steps. It's a step book. Okay, it's Bobby C's 12 and 12. 12 steps, 12 traditions. Okay, here's another book that a lot of people never even seen. Okay, because I still get stuff sent to me because I'm still registered as an intergroup representative. Intergroup, you know what that is? Oh no, the Alcoholics Anonymous isn't organized. Intergroup sends me these things here, okay? This is called the 12 concepts, okay? So you got the 12 steps, you got the 12 traditions, and you got the 12 concepts. 12, 12, and 12. Look it up, Google it. 12, 12, and 12. It's God in heaven. That's what it is. That's the symbolism. It's all symbolic. Everything is symbolic. And once you get down a rabbit hole and understand, do a little investigation about this whole recovery, this thing they call recovery thing, and Alcoholics Anonymous, you'll start understanding all the symbolic meanings. You know. But getting back to SMART, so SMART doesn't have any. It's got a book, but doesn't have no steps. Doesn't believe in labels. They don't like to label you alcohol, disease, alcoholism. I really don't think they put much guilt, shame, and fear on you. I don't think they fear you too much. They're not really trying to scare the shit out of you to come back. They're not telling you if you go drink again, you're going to go to jail, institutions, or you're going to die. Because today they understand that there's people that do drink and they have drunks once in a while, and during their process, like harm reduction would say, during the process, they're learning new things. So eventually they're going to maybe use less harm to the bodies, minds, and spirit. And then they'll maybe, if they choose, they'll go to abstinence. But check out that 12, 12, 12 symbolic. Back to you, Joey.
Well, I never heard of the 12 concepts before. I'm going to check that out and the 12, 12, and 12. See what that's all about.
Yeah.
I noticed that Smart Recovery doesn't have an opinion on the disease concept, and I thought that was interesting. I appreciated that they didn't have a take on it, and they're basically acknowledging that we can debate this all day depending on which side you're on. So they're just going to say they don't have a take on it. So then you don't have to worry about debating it in any meetings or anything like that. So I noticed that there was crosstalk in the meetings. That's probably pretty cool. I also noticed that Smart Recovery encourages you to use other programs along with it. Like if you want to go to AA and Smart Recovery, that's great. If the combination of the two is what is helping you, that's great. If you want to go to Smart Recovery and NA or whatever it is, that's great. As long as it's helping you, that's good. And that's not going to happen in a fucking AA meeting.
Right on.
You're not going to go to AA and say, "Oh, hey, John, I'm thinking about going to this fucking smart recovery meeting tonight. And he's gonna be like, no, I don't think you are, bud.
Check
You're
it
hanging
out.
out right here.
You're going to drink
You're
again. You're going to drink
right,
again.
right. I mean, can you fucking imagine if I went into the AA meeting tonight and said, hey, everybody, my name is Joe. I'm an alcoholic. I'm going over to Smart Recovery later tonight.
Nah, just pick up one of the brochures. There's about 1,000 of them. Pick up one of the brochures. There's 1,000 of them. Let me show you what the brochures are, okay? Let me show you. Here's booklets after booklets of telling. It's the grapevine. It's the corporation of, it's the second leg of the grapevine, Alcoholics Anonymous grapevine. Books after books after books, tapes after tapes after tape. This whole book, 65 pages, nothing but book tapes, tape, booklets, pamphlets,
Wow.
flyers, CDs, one after another, thousands of them, thousands of them. That's where they make their money. Okay? You think Alcoholics Anonymous is free? Huh. Let me tell you something. We're going to get into, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, subscribe to this channel. You're going to find some shit out about the whole rabbit hole. We're going to go down. We're going to take that red pill together. We're going to go down a rabbit hole, deep, deep, deep down here, and find out what these pyramids are all made of and what they're all about. Okay? Because the money that's made in these nonprofits, oh yeah, they're so good. Nonprofit organizations. I'm going to tell you is all about, we're going to do a podcast on volunteers, how the volunteers create this book. And the volunteers do it all for free, okay? And it goes to the top. The money goes to the top of the pyramid, okay? Why all the volunteers do everything for free. And, you know, Smart Recovery even has the volunteers, and you have to even pay to become a volunteer. That's another little part. We're going to go down a rabbit hole with that, but
Wow.
we're not going to go there yet, all right? So back to you, Joey.
Well, speaking of which, I went onto the Smart Recovery website and I left with about $15 less on my credit card than when I went in.
That's the only, hey,
Because
Joey, let me tell you something. That's all you got to put in at 15 bucks. That's it, no more. Because it's not going to take you any more money because you're learning it all here, okay? We're creating our own program. We could pop in there if we want to. We'll give $1, but guess what? No more, 15 bucks. You could have probably got that book for free. I'm going to suggest everybody to go get the book for free, find it or borrow it or lend it to somebody, okay? I should have sent it out to you, the book I got, okay? So share it to somebody. You don't have to pay for it. We're going to show you how to create your own program. If it's meant to be, it's up to me, and it's free, ladies and gentlemen. It is totally free on this podcast. Back to you, Joey. That was good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so the more I looked into Smart Recovery, and I also was checking out a couple other things. Um, I won't get into it, but Recovery Dharma, which is something I want to talk to you about.
How about
Another
on another? You
podcast.
want to do it? Yeah, on another podcast, we can get into Recovery Dharma, the little book Recovery Dharma, and find out how simplistic and how this really has to do with philosophy, the Buddhist philosophy. And you don't have to get into the religious stuff and that stuff on this Recovery Dharma. You don't have to believe in anything. There's a lot of wisdom there, and you could pop in there. Next podcast, maybe we'll do AA versus Recovery Dharma. Back to you, Joe.
Yeah,
Oh, you know what? I forgot to time this. I forgot to put the time down. Where are we at in our time? You think?
we're probably about a half hour.
Okay. We got some time, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. Okay. Because we're only going to do 40-minute podcasts on this anonymous addiction podcast. So back to you, Joey.
So I was checking out the recovery or Dharma Recovery, and that I really gravitated towards. I also really liked Smart Recovery because my main comparison was AA. So I'm like, the Smart Recovery, just the way they go about talking about things makes so much more sense than reading the big book or having sponsors just spew out like regurgitate like AA slogans to you. Um, it made a whole lot more sense. But but the Dharma recovery, I was really, really attracted to. Um, I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say about the smart recovery? Shit. Fuck. I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I was going to say, as I was searching through all these different recovery modalities, whether it's 12 step or not, I'm thinking to myself, oh well, I could latch on to recovery dharma and get real hardcore into that. I that would probably be my thing, because I've always been interested in Buddhism. In fact, when I first started drinking, I realized that I was going to have a problem because the drinking made me feel so good. But I knew that this was the way I was supposed to feel, but I knew I couldn't keep drinking to achieve that feeling. So I went to look into Buddhism and because I wanted to feel that way without drinking. I haven't been able to achieve that yet, but I've always gravitated towards that kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, I could be the fucking Buddha guy. I could be the fucking Dharma recovery guy. I could go all in. And then I'm thinking, well, why don't I think maybe I can just continue to have my own program evolve by including recovery dharma, including smart recovery, including AA, including all of these things so that um I can create my own tool belt, my own program, and do things the way I want to do it, which maybe really when it comes back around is the Buddhist way, because apparently it's all like wisdom within yourself or something. I don't know, but point I'm trying to make is, for me, I don't think I'm ever going to stick to just one recovery modality. It's always going to be a combination of a bunch of different things that I find is working out for me.
Okay, so that's great. Here's the deal. This is what I found out. This is the philosopher Bobby C., the teacher and the student, is going to share what I found out through all these years. Okay. So all these things, we know today that there are many alternative addiction recovery programs. We know that, right? Craft was started in the 70s. We'll get into even craft. We'll get into ACO. We'll get into all this shit. I mean, there's so many of them. It becomes an addiction. It's a recovery addiction. Okay. The recovery industry wants you to be addicted to the recovery. That's the whole. See, when you take that red pill, you learn this shit. Unless you want to take the blue, so take the blue. The audience that wants to take the blue, take the blue, okay? And you don't have to, don't subscribe, because we're going to talk about the red. Which one is best? Which program is best? And this isn't funny, right? I look down because I got shit all over here. None of them are best. None of them. You know what they all have in common? Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what they all have in common. Me. I'm the thing that's in common. I could go here. I could go here. I could go right here. See, right here? Look, I'm right here now doing all them programs with the knowledge that I've acquired. I'm doing it right now. So I don't have to become a fanatic into, they want me to though, see, because they know society's brain. They know how human beings work. They know how to manipulate us and control us into wanting more. They want more. There's nothing about more knowledge. You know, you can get some here, get some there, get some there, pop, 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 and create your own. You know, so I like what you were saying because that's true. We become fanatics into one realm of modality if it's AA. You know, there's a lot of fanatics in Alcoholics Anonymous. There's a lot of fanatics in Smart Recovery. There's a lot of fanatics in Recovery Dharma, in the Freedom Model. There's a lot of recovery fanatics in all these programs because they think that they got the answer when really you have the answer. It's inside of you, right here, right now. So you come join us and we'll create your own program as we talk, you know. Back to you, Joey.
Well, I don't know. That about sums it up for me. Don't know a whole lot about Smart Recovery still, but I know a lot more than I did before this podcast and just before a couple days ago, really. So I got my Smart Recovery handbook on the way because my buddy Bobby C didn't send me a free one. He made me go online and buy my own. All right. So I got that coming to me, and I'm actually gonna do it. I'm gonna read everything. I'm gonna do all the work. Better uh, of what it really is all about, and we can do another check-in, however long it takes me to finish the workbook and go through it and feel like I got a better understanding of it or something like that. We can do a little Smart Recovery check-in with Joey C in a few weeks.
Yeah, we could check in and do that cost benefit analysis because that's a quickie. You know, Alcoholics Anonymous calls it, I think, pros and cons list. Make a little pros and cons list. That's what it is. You whip it out. You take a peek at it. This just goes in deeper. It just goes in deeper. It talks about short term and long term. You know, the short term. Let's see, a benefit of using in the short term would be relieves negativity. It relieves stress. Man, you feel good. It feels more confident. You feel more socializing easier. You know, you look better. You could dance better. You could talk better. Makes you feel normal. You know, to reach out and be obvious. It helps me have fun. But they're all short term. They only last that short. The next morning, what the frick do you get? The cost? Oh, hangovers. That's short term, but hangover. Oh, my hangovers used to last 3 days. 3 days, my hangovers lasted. Damages my health. Damages my relationships. Divorce. Get arrested. Financial trouble. Lose my home. Lose my family. My kids. All this shit I hear every day. These are little long term. These are all long term benefits. But we'll get into the cost benefit analysis. We'll go on to not using, you know, but we just talked about using or doing the long term and short term, the benefits and the cost. But check out on Smart, go into it's a 5 minute, what is it, 7 minute little tools and strategies about cost benefit analysis. I think it can help a lot of people, you know. So back to you, Joey. I'm going to start signing off. Thank you. This is Create Your Own Program. This is Bobby C at Anonymous Addiction, My Truth About AA, as Bobby C sees it. Back to you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully next time you see us, I'll have a little bit more information on our. I'll be a Smart Recovery guru. All right, and check me out on Brutally Sober podcast. Even though the channel's getting a little stale right now, you can still listen to it. I got like 100 episodes or whatever. You can binge it. Don't go on Netflix. Okay, binge Brutally Sober podcast, and we'll see you guys next week. Maybe, I don't know. We still got the Alcoholics Anonymous Deprogramming podcast channel. Check that out. Next time you see us, maybe we'll be over there. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll be here.
Yeah, we could bounce back.
Whatever we feel like doing. We're gonna keep you on your listening to us. We're listening to each other. That's my meeting.
We're gonna bounce back and forth. And here I'm gonna leave you with this. We are the Buddha. We are the guru. Okay. We are the teacher and the student at the same time. So we're all these things. Don't go searching them out. They're all within. What do you say, Joe? We're going to say goodbye to the audience from the West
Goodbye,
Coast.
everyone.
This is Bobby C from the West Coast.
This is Joey C from the East Coast signing off. Have a good week, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.